Welcome back. One final point before we go tonight. Here on this show, we're committed to exposing the abuse of women. Sometimes that's easy when it comes to things like the Women's March and their organizer calling for jihad against President Trump. No brainer, Linda Sarsour doesn't care about women. She just hates Donald Trump. It's easy when liberal feminists marching against our Second Amendment rights, even though women like me use firearms to defend ourselves. They don't care about women's rights. They care about their gun control agenda. Sometimes talking about abuse of women isn't easy. It's hard. It's ugly. It's heartbreaking. But it's happening right under our noses right here in our country. 500,000 little girls and young women are subject to female genital mutilation here in the United States. 6, 7, 8-year-old girls are strapped to the ground and their sexual organs are mutilated on purpose. Their clitoris is cut off, their vagina is sewn up. Now, don't think this is far removed from you and your neighborhood. This is not something that happens only in tribal cultures and uncivilized societies a million miles away across the world. This happens in our neighborhoods. 500,000 little girls and young women are subject to or at risk of female genital mutilation in the United States as I speak. 500,000. That's 20,000 kindergarten classes full of little girls. Just a little less than the entire population of Washington, D.C. Enough for almost 300 NFL teams. The mainstream media and liberal feminists won't talk about this. Why? It's horrible. It's heartbreaking. It's graphic. I get that. But somebody needs to stand up for these innocent children. If feminists won't do it, I will. If you care about abuse, the oppression of women, if you care about the rights of women, you will speak up about female genital mutilation. Only 26 states in our nation outlaw the barbaric practice. Apologists like the ACLU and the Democratic Party in Maine, they use euphemisms for female genital mutilation like pricking, vacation cutting. They abbreviate the full name to FGM to mask the horror. I won't do that. If you care about healthcare for women, you will speak up about female genital mutilation. Menstruating is dangerous and it hurts for women who've been subjected to this. Infections are common. A woman has to be cut open to give birth or else she'll die. Guess what they don't use when they cut her open? Anesthesia or pain medicine. Then after birth, she's sewn closed again. If you care about the dignity of women, you will speak up about female genital mutilation. If sex is painful for women, they won't be promiscuous. That is the belief behind this torture. If your vagina is the size of a pinky finger, can you imagine? Now, I'm sorry to be graphic, but nobody else is brave enough to say it. I will. Your clitoris has been sliced off. You have no sexual drive. Therefore, you won't taunt men with your sexuality. That is the driving factor behind this mutilation. If you care about the freedom of women, you will speak up about female genital mutilation. Little girls are strapped down with ropes. Their legs are pulled apart. Again, I'm sorry this is graphic. I'm sorry to show you the images you're seeing on the screen right now, but this is not imaginary. This is not a march in the street with pink hats protesting imaginary oppression. This is happening to little girls in our country right now, without their permission, without anesthesia. If you care about autonomy for women, you will speak up about female genital mutilation. You demand our lawmakers outlaw this in every single state in our nation. Little girls are told to lie about it. It's to keep you clean, to scrape away the germs. That's what the so-called doctors tell them. Don't tell your friends. Don't tell your teachers. It's a secret vacation. The girls are abused. They're mutilated. And then they're told to lie. Feminists won't tell you the reality of this barbaric torture, so I will. The risk of female genital mutilation is too low to expand the criminal code in Maine. That's what the Democratic politicians claim. 500,000 little girls and young women are victims of female genital mutilation, or they're at risk for this mutilation in our nation. I don't know about you, but when little girls are strapped down to tables and cut with broken glass, I think it's worth expanding our criminal code to protect them. This is not a Republican issue or a Democratic issue. This is a human rights issue. This is a child abuse issue. This is a civil rights issue. The mainstream media doesn't have the courage to talk about it. They're afraid of offending your sensibilities. They're afraid of offending Islamic religious sensibilities, but I will talk about it. Please join me. Let's come together and end female genital mutilation in America. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop right now. And that's my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.